The Haunting of Redwood Motel. It started as just another business trip for Mark, a traveling salesman who had spent most of his life on the road. After a long day of meetings, he found himself driving late into the night through the desolate roads of Northern California. His GPS was giving him trouble, so when he saw the sign for a small motel off the highway, Redwood Motel, it seemed like the perfect place to stop and rest. The motel looked abandoned, but a neon light buzzed above the door. Inside, the lobby was dimly lit, and an elderly woman greeted him with a warm smile. "One room for the night?" she asked in a raspy voice. Mark nodded, and she handed him a key to room number 7. He didn't think much of it at first, but as he walked toward the room, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The air was thick, the hallway too quiet. Once inside the room, Mark set his bag down and collapsed on the bed. The room smelled musty, and the walls were adorned with old, fading pictures of forests. He tried to shake off the discomfort, but something felt strange, like he wasn't alone. Every time he looked away from the door, he could hear faint footsteps in the hallway, but when he checked, no one was there. Around midnight, Mark awoke to a loud knock on the door. His heart raced. He glanced at the clock. It was exactly 12 a.m. He opened the door, but no one was standing outside. Only the sound of a low wind and the faint rustling of the trees. A chill ran down his spine, and he slammed the door shut. The footsteps continued throughout the night, growing louder as if someone was walking right outside his room. Mark, exhausted and feeling uneasy, tried to sleep. But as soon as he closed his eyes, he saw a shadow move across the floor. It wasn't his reflection, it was something else, something tall and dark. The shadow stopped at the foot of his bed, and he felt the air grow cold. His room's temperature dropped rapidly, and a whisper seemed to echo in his ears. "Get out, it's not safe." The voice was faint, but unmistakable. Suddenly, the light bulb above him flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. Mark could hear the faint sound of something breathing heavily, just inches from his face. Panicked, he jumped up and rushed to the door, but before he could leave, the door slammed shut on its own. His heart pounded in his chest, and his hands trembled as he tried to force the door open. With all his strength, he finally managed to get the door open and ran out into the night, barefoot and shaking. The elderly woman was nowhere to be seen when he ran to the office. He found her sitting in a rocking chair, still with that same eerie smile, but now there was something different in her eyes, something cold, something ancient. "Room 7, she whispered, "has been closed for years. No one stays there. No one ever leaves." Terrified, Mark ran to his car and sped away, never looking back. He later learned that Redwood Motel had been abandoned after a series of mysterious disappearances that had plagued the motel years ago. Room 7, in particular, was known to be haunted by the spirits of those who never checked out. To this day, no one dares to stay at the Redwood Motel, and the local legend of Room 7 continues